Hey folks, Bobby here today. Hey guys, welcome to our 2.5 liter Ford engine rebuild series. And today, bring the camera down here. We are going to put the whole front of the engine back together and time that timing belt, okay? So stay tuned while we get her done. Okay guys, first thing we're going to do here is put this sensor here on the side of the oil pump. I took it off the oil, and I think this is the cam sensor. That would make sense because this turns one time for every time the crank, so it's a 2-to-1 ratio, and they're mounting it right here probably because it's easier than mounting it somewhere up here near the cam gear. So that's my logic. I'm sticking to it. Okay, so I think this is your cam sensor. And it's going to take a reading off of the back of the oil pump pulley here. So let me go ahead and just and this takes a 7mm, okay, to tighten this up. I'm just going to snug him down just like so. So there we go. Okay, we're getting ready to put on the back part of the cover. Okay, there's a bolt with a stud down here sticking through, so I've got to find the nut for that. I just realized that. And we have a bolt hole right here, and we have a pin that has to go up here, and I want to talk about that here in just a minute. There's something special that you have to do to it. So I think I have the right bolts here. So let me pause, and I'm going to see if I can find this nut right quick. Okay, guys, we are going to we put one bolt right there, one of the 8mm head, and this one here is the only nut that I can find up here. And it's got a 11mm head on it. I'm not 100% sure if this is right or not, but we'll find out here shortly. I'm just going to leave it kind of loose right now. And this one here as well. Now up here, I do know that this peg goes in here, and you've got to have some type of sealer on this because oil can drain out of that little hole right there. Okay, that bolt hole goes through to the valve cover valley, and oil will leak through that hole. So you have to put some type of silicone on here. Notice that this bolt does have like a little ledge right there, and that allows it to go around the plastic without busting the plastic and being able to tighten down. So we're going to go and stick it in here, and we're going to tighten it down. Lift up on the cover to where you're not busting the cover, and that's a 10mm. So let me go grab that socket, and we'll tighten that down. Okay, and we'll just snug him down a little bit, about like so, and that should be good. Okay guys, getting ready to install the water pump, okay? And I put a thin layer of RTV in the groove to put then put my O-ring in place, and I'm just kind of smearing it around where I get a little bit of RTV on this surface here all the way around. It just makes me feel better going back together with it. And we are going to go ahead and put this in place in this general area right here, and then I want to make sure I do this before I go too far. I probably should have done this while the cover was off. Maybe I should have. Hang on just a minute, guys. Been a while since I put. Okay, let's go ahead and see if this works any better now. I think I was actually okay. I think I had it turned wrong. Okay, now from this point here, let me go ahead and put a little bit of RTV on each one of these bolts here. Just want to put some on the threads and kind of swirl it around. I believe these do go to water, and anytime you got any type of bolt going to water, you want to put a little bit of RTV on it before you install it. So let me get the other two installed, and we will tighten this bad boy down. Okay, we got another one lubed up right there. I'll shove him in. We got some right here too. RTV. So let's go ahead and get all these started. And then we will tighten these down. Okay guys, I'm just going to snug these things down. If you want to do the specified torque, you can. Matter of fact, let's just do that. Let's go look it up and we're going to torque it to spec. Okay guys, the torque spec is anywhere from 14 to 21 foot-pounds, and I got this set on like 17, and it looks like we are there. Okay, we might actually over tighten it just a tad, but I'm okay with that. It'll be all right. Okay, it's time to put our oil pump gear on for the final time. So we're going to put that in. I'm going to put a little bit of Loctite on here, on this bolt, just for good measure. We're going to run it in. And then I'm going to take my cordless impact with 18 millimeter. I'm just going to give it a good, let me grab it with a rag here right quick. And I'm just going to go ahead and give this a good, just like that right there, guys. I think I'm going to leave her alone. Hey guys, hey, we're back here. I want to show you a few things. I had to go do a little double checking myself because Ford, I don't know why they done this, but on both their gears they put it right here. You can see there's a diamond. Okay, so that would confuse you with something to line up, right? And if you look right here, there's a triangle. Okay, so on this cam gear right here, you are supposed to line this triangle up with the triangle on the cover, okay? But down here, it's a diamond. That diamond lines up with that diamond, okay? And look here, if you accidentally line the little triangle up, you might be wrong. I don't know. I don't know if these oil pumps are actually like balance shafts on these engines or not, but I'm going to line things up like it's supposed to be, and I'm not going to take no chances. And down here on your crankshaft, you see the little slot in the cover here, okay? This is supposed to line up with the dot on the crank, okay? So basically your keyway is pretty much just straight up and down, 12 o'clock. And this little tooth here lines up right here, okay? And that's pretty easy. So guys, we're going to go ahead and put our tensioner in place, and we're going to go ahead and put our belt on and see if we can get this thing tensioned up. Stay tuned, good people, about it. Okay, getting ready to put the tensioner in place, and I want to show you something, guys. The bolts, the threads on that bolt need to have a little something on it too, because they had it from the factory. And I think I remember looking in this hole earlier, and it does go to another bolt head that could have oil coming down through it. So we definitely want to put something on it to seal it. We don't want oil coming out through the front of our engine. So let me go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and install this right quick. Run it in just temporarily. We'll tighten it down in just a minute. Well, I had to back that right back out, guys, because I forgot to put my tensioner in place. So here we go. This bolt actually holds our tensioner in place. And you see the spring here, okay? This spring actually goes up against this roll pin right here, and it has to be on the other side of this this pin right here, okay? And this is what is going to give us our spring tension. So let me get a few turns here and see if I can get all this finagled into place properly. And then we will start the process of tightening this down. Okay guys, hey, we're getting ready to put this second bolt in the tensioner here. This is a little tricky. It's going to require a pry bar as well, okay? And I'll show you what I mean here in just a minute. So we have our bolt here pretty much all the way down. We tightened it and then we backed it off. Tensioner is in place. The spring is on this side of the pin, and this side of the spring is right here, okay? So it does provide tension, and lots of it, okay? So I recommend a bent pry bar, one with a little bend on it, because it'll help it from sliding off as easy. And go ahead and put that tension on there, relieve it to where you can take this bolt and put it right in place right here. Now you need to put a little bit of silicone on those threads as well. because evidently this goes to oil or maybe water. And that's all you need to do right there, guys. Now, let me grab my 13 millimeter, I believe, and we're going to go ahead and press on this and make it to where it goes all the way to where we can actually put the belt in place. Okay, I've got my socket in place here on my ratchet. I'm going to go ahead and depress this as far as I can, okay? And then I'm going to tighten this down in place. All right, so, and that'll be how we need it to be to actually get the new belt in place. Okay, guys, here's our new belt. I'm going to go ahead and turn it to where we can read the writing. And when we look underneath the hood, I'm going to slip it around the crankshaft. We're going to go ahead and go around the, oh, I think I might be off a tooth there. Let's go back this way. Right there should be lined up good. And let me go ahead and push this in behind here. See if we can go up here and get it onto the cam gear. Okay, I think we're good down low. We're on the oil pump. Our mark is still in place. We're still looking pretty good on the crankshaft. So let's see if we can slide her in place here. We might need to wiggle. There we go. There we go, I think. They don't give you a whole lot to play with on these little engines. Okay, so we're going to work it on evenly here. And push it into place. And let's just take a visual inspection right quick of our marks. So let's start down here at the crankshaft. Come on down here, Nathaniel. I'm going to get something to point with. If I can point for the good people. It's got a little bolt here. As you can see, our mark here is lining up with this little slash here in the cover. Or basically this whole tooth just lines up there, okay? Right here on our cam gear, we got the diamond lining up with that diamond right there. And you can see the previous paint mark that I put on it, guys. I don't know if you ever seen the video where I put a timing belt on this engine years ago. That was my paint mark that I put on there. So we are lined up there perfectly. And right here at the bottom, right here, we got our triangle lined up with that triangle. So we're good to go, and we're going to release the tension. Okay, now I'm going to show you how I tension these belts like this. Right there, we feel, you know, we got pretty good tension right there. We got tension here. We're not off a tooth or anything. Sometimes when you do timing belts, you got to make sure you don't have, especially when you're doing like dual overhead cams, make sure you don't have like a lot of play in between two pulleys where you could be a tooth off. And all of our slack is right here on the tensioner side. So all we're going to do is break the tensioner loose, and this thing is going to self-tension itself, okay? So that's what I did right there. Let me loosen it. Let me make sure that my, hang on a minute, find my 17. Make sure this is loose enough too, where this can actually spring like it wants to, okay? And I think we're good. I'm going to snug this back down. Now, one thing I always like to do with any timing belt, okay, is I want to rotate that engine around one revolution, and as I'm coming back up on top dead center, it will have the most amount of pull, you know, on the pull side of the belt. So it'll leave you the least amount of tension here on your backside. I'll loosen that tension again and let it go as far as it possibly can, so we got the right amount of tension. I'll show you what I mean in just a minute. Let me go grab the tool that I need. Okay, in a clockwise motion, me looking at the engine, we're going to take this thing around a complete revolution, okay? So here we go. And let me keep on going. Alrighty. Now, we are approaching top dead center, okay? We're headed that way. Let me go ahead once again and loosen my tension here, okay? I'm just going to loosen the tension that we have on there, okay? And matter of fact, Let me go. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get my brass hammer. I just want to give it a little tap, and just in case we were like stuck up against the painted surface of the block or anything, just give it a little tap there. So as we are approaching here, okay, and I broke that loose, we're gonna, hang on, I'm gonna get it just barely broke loose here, okay. Now I'm gonna turn the engine and pull her up on top dead center. As we're going right there, we should have the most amount of drag there, and right before we get there, I'm gonna go ahead and snug her down. Okay, now if you look here, guys, we got good tension on that pulling side of the belt, and on the back side of the belt, we've got good tension on it as well. All our marks are lined up, triangle to triangle, diamond to diamond, and we have our mark down here. This tooth is lined up right there at that slot. So we're good to go. So now we'll continue on. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pull my crank bolt out of the end of the crank, because we don't need to turn it no more, and we're gonna go ahead and put our cover on and our crank pulley. Alrighty, let me set this out of the way for a minute, and everything still looks good. And here's our cover that covers up all of this. Everything's tight. Let me go around and just check everything one more time. Make sure everything's good and tight. That's tight. And that's tight. And I know that's tight. We put Loctite on that. That was already tightened before we even put the head on the engine. So let's go ahead and pop this together. And these things just kind of snap together. Okay, just like so. Okay. Wait a minute. You know what? Hang on. Let me take one quick look here. Seemed like there was another bolt hole here somewhere. No, I was right. Nothing else in there to be connected at this time. So let's snap our cover here in place. And let's see, this little ear here doesn't act like he wants to pop on there very good. Oh, there we go. Okay, now he's in place too. Everything's good. And we have this one bolt here that has a little shoulder on it, okay? And it's the only bolt that works with this properly. So let's go ahead and install it. It's got an 8mm head on it, and we will tighten that down. Okay. There we go. Ready to go. So now we're ready to put our crank pulley in place. Okay, guys, we got our crank pulley here. I'm going to put just a dab of assembly lube right here, just to kind of lube up the end here. And so she slides on good. So we're just going to zip it down with a impact. Okay, let's start our keyway. Okay, and there she goes right there. And let me go get my rubber hammer, and we'll tap her in place. Okay, guys, so hey, we're going to take our 4-pound dead blow. We can't really hurt nothing with that. And we're tapping our crank pulley in place. Okay, guys, we're going to put a little bit of Loctite on our crank bolt here. Just the blue Loctite, just thread locker, nothing crazy. And we are going to go ahead and put her in here, get it started, and zip her down with our cordless impact here. And that sounds like she's seated there. Pretty good, and that's all I'm going to do to it. I'm not going to worry about trying to get my chain wrench and torque it and all that jazz. We got Loctite on it. I felt it bottom out. She's good to go. I'd rather do that than to put marks in my crank pulley here with a chain wrench. Okay, so let's continue on. Okay, now I'm going to take the crank sensor. Let me just show it to you. Looks like so. We're going to put him in place here. And we have a hold down bolt here that holds him in place. Let me tighten that down. Alrighty. Okay guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap the video up here because there's really not a whole lot more that we can put on the front of the engine before we actually get ready to drop it in. So just wanted to show you how basically in this video how the timing belt and everything went back together and everything. So hopefully you will find this video helpful. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check the description down below and follow us in this series here as we're rebuilding this 2.5 liter. Have a great day. Take care.